2025, and Brent Venables will have coached himself off the hot seat. ESPN believes Oklahoma is one of the more intriguing teams for 2025. Let's discuss that coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks again for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jay, the Oklahoma Sooners are coming off of a 6-7 season. There's a lot of doubters, a lot of haters out there, even in the fan base. A lot of people that just aren't sure what to expect out of this Oklahoma team in 2025. I know y'all are tired of me pumping the sunshine. I get it. You're tired of me filling your glasses with Kool-Aid. You're just chucking them out the window. But I'm not the only one saying it. A lot of national analysts and observers are also talking about Oklahoma as one of the more interesting and intriguing teams in 2025. And this time, Bill Connolly of ESPN included Oklahoma among his top 10 teams that are very interesting. And he says, why are the Sooners interesting? And it comes back to the offense. Can an offensive transplant fix everything is the question he's asking, Jay.
Yeah, and it's a good point because there's even an article he linked in here. He says, history suggests that an offensive coordinator change at a school with loads of recent offensive success can create an immediate course correction. And they have all kinds of charts and stuff that shows kind of the data that lines that up and points it out. And I know that Sooner fans are like, man, y'all guys are really pumping in that sunshine again this year like you were last year. But not as much, right? Last year we had our questions. Our most, biggest questions were around, of course, offensive line and quarterback, because you lost so many veterans there on the O-line and you're starting to play a lot more young guys, and your quarterback was really young. The biggest things was your skills guys were going to have to pick up a lot of the weight in order to help your young quarterback thrive, and he didn't have that. And because he didn't have that, it's honestly what led to not only him, but even Michael Hawkins being able to having to struggle so much. You got to have some components to be able to help balance things out. Well, you're walking in with a guy that's been in the system for 3 years. Got to keep reminding y'all that. He's been in the system for 3 years underneath Ben Arbuckle, who's been the OC for the last 2. He's got a coach that you got the offensive coordinator coming in that has a system that's been proven to put up some numbers, and you got a quarterback that shows he has the moxie to make it happen regardless, because he does have a chip on his shoulder. I saw some people that were upset about your points yesterday, John. I was kind of cracking up, and it's like, no, you're not saying that, his goal was to get to the SEC to prove a point. He felt snubbed by the SEC even in high school. He's out of Texas. Mm-hmm. That's a common place for SEC schools to pull up on quarterbacks. He was overlooked there. Honestly, for the most part, he was overlooked when he went in the portal. Besides the fact that it was either, most schools probably said, he's going to Oklahoma if he doesn't go to Miami, which granted I get, because Miami had some success with the Washington State quarterback. They wanted a second one. So they threw it out there, and NC's trying to start from scratch. So be nice to have that, but Mateer chose arguably the smartest decision, because why not go play for the dude that you played for the year before, and you understudied under a quarterback who threw for him the year before that. So it makes sense why everybody's starting to lean heavy into Oklahoma, because there is very little chance, knock on wood, but very little chance Oklahoma repeats the bad and horrendous offensive performance they did last year, even if Mateer goes down, because I think Michael Hawkins will be ready to play this year way more than last year.
Yeah, he'll be more prepared. He's going to be in a system that's going to take advantage of what he does well, which is, he gets the ball out quick. Like, you scheme some things open for him, and he's going to be able to create a lot of havoc in the passing game, and he's just a dynamic runner. But the offense is just so much more tailor-suited for what Oklahoma has available to them and what they can do well. They've got a lot of wide receivers. Now, listen, I get last year they had a great wide receiver group as well. Oklahoma's not going to deal with the same amount of injuries that they had last year. There's no way. There's just no way that they can have that kind of bad luck. And Brent Venables talked about it with Josh Payton in that hour-long interview about how they made some changes to the way that they were, training and practicing and all that, and trying to protect players a little bit better for the season. So, and in addition to the skill players, the offensive line, I mean, you had a complete offensive line overhaul, and all the guys that you were projecting to start, save for 2, went down with injuries.
Yeah.
So not only were you having to deal with turning over your entire offensive line, you had injuries that were hitting your starting offensive line, your backup offensive line, and you were getting down to your third string. And obviously that's going to have an impact. So this is a very intriguing team because I just have very little doubt that they're going to be as inefficient and as bad as they were offensively last year. I don't think that they're going to run into the same turnover issues that they ran into last year. Are they going to turn the ball over? Every team turns the ball over from time to time, but it's not going to be as backbreaking as what we saw last year. It's not going to be a situation where, hey, your tie ball game, less than a minute to play, fumbling the ball, Missouri picks it up, runs it in for a touchdown. You're not going to see that. You're not going to see you just got the ball at the 5-yard line against Tennessee, 1st and goal at the 5. Next play later, you're fumbling the ball.
Right
you're not going to see that either. You're going to be in a much better, more consistent situation because you're going to have a veteran quarterback. You're going to have an improved offensive line, and you're going to have a healthy set of skill players. Even if one goes down, you're not going to be down 6, 7 wide receivers like you throughout the 2024 season. It's just not going to happen. And I get it. I'm not trying to be boastful. I'm not trying to like jinx it. I'm just saying like the likelihood that happens again is so minuscule because what happened last year was just a freak year. And going back to Ben Arbuckle, this system will create offense. It's done it at multiple levels in multiple conferences across college football with several different coordinators running it and several different quarterbacks running those offenses.
Yeah.
So the fact is Oklahoma's offense is going to be significantly better. And if you want to hear me gush more about John Mateer, make sure you go listen to Thursday's episode because I spent 30 minutes doing that. But you've got a lot to like about what Oklahoma's going to put on the field on offense. And I just spent 5 minutes ranting. My apologies. Jay, take it away.
No. You're 100% right. And that's where my thought process is too. There's way too many positives coming into this year, and a lot of that bad luck last year is going to be really hard to replicate. And the crazy part is even as bad as the luck we had, still won 6 games. Like, that's the crazy part. I think the defense really won us 6 games last year. Besides Michael Hawkins' heroics.
Yep. I just responded to a guy on YouTube at 5 till midnight said, we won 6 last year with no receivers, no quarterback, and half a running back. I think we got this.
He's right.
Mateer likes to create. That's what Bake did. Not the best arm, but dang accurate.
Yeah. And he works his tail off. So I think we're good. We're good.
Yeah, totally agree. The Oklahoma Sooners have an intriguing recruiting thing happening with Jaden O'Neal. Also some big-time recruiting happenings across Sooner Nation. Let's discuss coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.